Actually, I think it's analog temperature 1. I think I have that incorrectly selected here. So coolant temp should actually be AT1, and then air temp should be AT2. I recall I had to switch some of the pins here, and just kind of thinking this off the top of my head. Since I've done the wiring, I know what's what here. So it actually isn't on 3, it's on 1. We'll test that when we actually get it running, see if that's correct, but I'm almost positive off the top of my head it's correct. Now the coolant temp sensor calibration here, we're actually going to set this to manual. And we're going to go down here, and the voltage reference is important. This is where we've wired the ground reference for the signal. That is going to be here on the A option. If we take a look at the translation table, this is the voltage to the actual coolant temp lookup. I actually have here, under the import, we actually have a coolant temp based file in our table import CSV folder in our main training course folder. So we can see here Honda K20 coolant temp. That allows me to now have the proper voltage to coolant scale, so it's going to translate that sensor into a proper reading from the Motec. Coolant temp estimate. If the coolant temp sensor fails, that's what it's going to default to. We actually might want to set that a little higher to 90. Let's go here. So other things to note, looking at the voltage range, if it goes below or above the voltage here, it'll go into the diagnostic failsafe. Let's go look at the maximum voltage here. That's 4.8. We can see here 4.802. I'm going to set this to 4.85. So if it goes and has a higher voltage than that, based around my scale here, it'll go into the diagnostic mode. Now likewise, if we go to the other end here, 0 volt is the lowest it can read to. I'm going to set that to 0 volt so it doesn't potentially trigger if it's getting into the really hot temperature reading, because we can see here as the voltage goes down, that's going to be correlating to the temperature reading really hot. And if that was set to where it was previously at 0.1, it could start to trigger a coolant sensor failsafe and then revert back to our estimate value here in the event that we don't have our windowing right here for the minimum, maximum, or high and low. Okay, so the inlet air temp resource, this is something we need to assign, which is going to be AV2. Now it just so happens that we are using this GM Delphi sensor. That's the most common sensor for in the air temp. Open element works really well, pretty fast response. Now the voltage reference, because it's a temp sensor, we're going to have that on our A option. That's the ground path for the sensor. This allows the Motec to renormalize any of the sensor reading in case we have something wrong with power supply to the Motec or something internally going on in the Motec. It can correct for that. There's a trim. We want that set at 0, the sensor default. That's if it fails, that's what it triggers back to, so we'll keep that at 35 Celsius. In the manifold pressure mode, we've already set this. That should be set to estimate. Now, because we're doing the alpha end strategy, we have to be specific of our settings and configuration here. So we are not going to have an inlet manifold pressure sensor resource assigned. This is going to be essentially allowing to ignore the main VE table and utilize just the estimate table value.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.